Wow, guys, I don't know if you know Candace Owens, but she completely owns anybody in a professional debate. So I need you guys to stick along to the end of the video to see what more I have to say about that. But right now, I need you guys to like, comment, subscribe if you're new. And as always, let me know what to react to. We're about to get right to it.
Sorry, could you just be clear? It's a little. Sorry.
I was
you.
talking to. Oh my god.
That's good.
I
No,
was
that's
talking
good.
to one of your merch people or like something outside, and I mentioned that I don't know if you know this about Pittsburgh. It's a very Jewish population. It's awesome. We have great food.
Pittsburgh. Great. Awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if he knows about our school. Yeah, very Jewish.
Great.
So I asked him. I was like, "Are you sure you want to bring Candace Owens in here? Because if I remembered correctly, and in my, not to toot my own horn, but I might have forgotten. I was like, you did say something about Hitler once that was weird. And he said, do you have a source? And I was like, hold on. So I got a source.
Mm-hmm.
I showed it to him. He was like, that's The Hill. It's like a tabloid. I was like, okay, that's fair. I looked it up. My first question is, do you trust Newsweek.com?
Do I trust?
Newsweek.com.
Oh, you can just get to your question. Let's just pretend that whatever you read was legitimate and just ask the question.
I can actually play your response.
Just ask the question. It's fine. Well, whatever you read is legitimate. I'm not going to try to debunk. Just tell me what it said and ask the question.
Fine.
Yeah.
God. It's your words here.
No, okay, but just ask. Let's just get to your question.
Okay. Here's the preamble. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. Okay. I think that the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Okay. Seems a lot like, globalism is what I don't want. Whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. Okay, you could stop there, but it's okay if Hitler just wanted to make America great and oh my God. Oh, that was a really funny thing.
Can you just get to your question?
All right, ask
yeah, do you have a question?
You have
it kind of feels like a filibuster.
It's okay if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well.
Mm-hmm.
It says here, adding that it would be problematic if he, quote, had dreams outside of Germany. Then the political commentator said that Hitler wanted to globalize and said she doesn't really have an issue with nationalism. He was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine.
Okay.
The problem is that he had dreams outside Germany.
Okay.
He wanted to globalize.
Do you have a question?
What's your question?
My question is, do you stand by that?
What did she say?
Do you stand by that?
Okay, thank you. I'm so glad we got there. It's just amazing. Okay, so everybody has seen this, and actually, I'm sure a lot of you watched my episode yesterday, so her timing is definitely great, where I had a rabbi on who brought this up. Candace said Hitler was okay. You probably have seen the viral clip of me in Congress, where a congressman tried to say, Candace said Hitler was okay, and that is definitively not what happened. Actually, I was speaking on stage alongside Charlie Kirk. Rather ironically, there was a room filled with Jewish people, including a Jewish journalist who interviewed me that night, and when I said whatever I said on stage, nobody cared. That was in November 2018. And then 4 months after that, in 2019, some journalists pulled out the clip out of context and tried to make it seem like I was saying Hitler was okay. So let me tell you what actually happened on that night. A person rose their hand in the audience after we gave a speech about, and obviously this is during the MAGA years, about this, need to return to having an identity, a national identity. And a woman asked the question, would you say that you're a nationalist? Because I feel like people are sort of afraid to embrace that term. And so I answered her. And I said, I don't have a problem with the word nationalism. Actually, I think a lot of the times the reason why nationalism, the idea of caring about having your nation's identity and fighting for policies that are pretty much America first, gets poisoned because people wrongly attribute nationalism to Adolf Hitler. It's not like he was just some guy that was in Germany saying, oh, I just want to make Germany great. And then I went on to say, obviously, he invaded Poland. He had globalist ambitions. None of this was okay. That was the end of it. But, of course, when you pull it out of context and you're a journalist who's trying to smear someone, you try to make it seem like the person, I didn't even mention the word Jews. There's not even a question about whether we were talking about Jewish people, the Holocaust, nothing. We were simply talking about the word nationalism and why people have hesitancy when they say that they are a nationalist or when they say that they're America first or whatever. So that was it. That was the end of it. There was no talk about saying Hitler was okay or this was great. It was just a topic about whether or not nationalism is rightly attributed or whether or not it is a dirty word. So I hope that provides some clarity for you.
Nope. Your question was like 20 minutes. Sorry, next.
I think we've given you really more than enough time.
Wow, guys, that first girl, I mean, I guess you could say that first clown, she was completely annoying. People always say what you say out of context when you have a lot of videos on the internet. I bet you guys can name 3 people, not even including Candace Owens, that this has happened to. But let's go move on to the next clown. Let's see what more they had to say.
You said that sex ed effectively sexualized children, and
Yeah.
I was wondering if you had ever heard of the case in Delaware, close to where you're from in Connecticut, where a 10-year-old girl was able to finally tell her mother that she was being sexually abused by her father because she was able to learn sex ed from the It's Perfectly Normal book. Would you like to comment on that, please?
Yeah, sure. So one example does not mean that it impacts the majority at large. I would very much like to believe and know that the majority of people are not 10 years old being, sexually molested by their parents. What you're doing right now is pretty much what the government does. They find one extreme example and try to make everybody fearful that this is going on all the time. This is actually how they introduced sex ed. Everybody's just doing it, and that actually wasn't true. It's never in everybody. Can you find a somebody? Sure. What is the goal of government? Is there ever going to be something that's perfect? Can you create perfect laws? There's always going to be exceptions. You got to create the rule. You can't have the rule based on exceptions. There are exceptional things that happen all the time. If we said that, one person who got their license when they were age 21 got into a wreck on the day that they got their license, well, so nobody's allowed to get their license. That would be crazy. It's crazy. You have to talk about what the majority is. You have to talk about the majority percentage of experiences. And it is a fact that within 10 years after introducing sex education, the stats completely flipped and the majority of kids were graduating without their virginity, as opposed to prior to that when it was a very different society. Also, which you could say had an impact, was that we used to teach the Bible at school. Like, people were basically, Christian. There was a lot more Christianity in the classroom, and that got removed after some lawsuits. I believe that was in the mid 60s that went all the way to the Supreme Court. But again, the goal of the government is to govern for the whole, not the fringe minority of circumstances that happen. Doesn't make them any less sad or any less awful, but you can't then base laws and everything that you're doing on them. Hope that
That's all, you
helps.
guys.
You guys can see she was pretty upset about that. Like Candace Owens said, it's never everybody, it's always somebody. Changing society to make a very small group happy is moving backwards in society. I'm not saying that very small group of people is bad, but most of the time, you build laws around most of the people. Let me know what you guys think about the video in the comments.